All right, welcome back. Hope you guys are doing well, doing whatever it is that you're doing this summer or winter if you're south of the equator. Welcome. I thought I'd do a talk today and just talk about Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and my long-term investment strategy, why I chose those two as being my top two holdings for my long-term portfolio, and talk about some of the SEC stuff that has been happening recently and kind of my thoughts on that. I hold a lot of different cryptocurrencies, and most of those I won't talk about on this channel because, in my opinion, they're riskier than I guess the big four and a lot of the OGs that I will talk about. And there are, there are a ton of cryptocurrencies out there on the market. When somebody first gets introduced to cryptocurrency, it can be a little overwhelming and off-putting to a lot of people when they see everything that's out there and they have a difficult time choosing. And I think some of the things that Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash have going for them are going to help them in the long run. And that's why I've chosen them for my long-term portfolio. I don't invest for the short term. I'm not a get rich quick type of person. I would obviously like to see my investments skyrocket just like everybody, but I know from experience and from looking around and just learning from other people's mistakes is that a lot of people who chase the moonshots oftentimes end up losing a lot of their money. Those investments are a lot riskier, and a lot of times the cryptocurrencies that come out aren't really long-term cryptocurrencies. They're not going to be around for a long time. Some of them don't last more than a few months or a few years, and then they're gone. I want something in my investment portfolio that's going to be around for the long run. And so when I think long run, I think 10 years plus. Like, what's going to be around? Is my investment in a certain cryptocurrency still going to be viable? Is it still going to be worth something? What's going to, what is a potential price target 10 years out for a given asset? Those are the things I think about when I think about long-term investing in cryptocurrency. And I mentioned this before in previous videos, like the big four, there's a lot of safety and security in the big four. Cryptocurrency is risky by default. There's a lot of unknowns in cryptocurrency, and it's a real volatile market out there with the bear markets and the bull markets. It's pretty crazy. It can be exciting, but it can also be kind of scary out there. And there's a certain amount of safety investing in the big four. The big four being Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. And I know that the four of those assets are going to be around for a very, very long time, and that they will all do very well. I just mainly focus on Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash because I see the returns from those two cryptos as being higher than the returns that I could get in Bitcoin or Ethereum alone. So that's mainly why I focus on Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. I see them as being extremely undervalued, and that's where I want to put my focus. I look at returns of 10x, 50x, 100x as being far preferable, really, in many respects, to a 1000x gain, because the 1000x gains are often in fly-by-night cryptocurrencies that are going to see their heyday and then are going to disappear. And it's not something that really interests me. I have a little bit riding in meme coins, but not a whole lot. Those are risky. Those are potential moonshots, but not a whole lot of my investment goes there. The vast bulk of my investment goes towards kind of the blue chip cryptos, the solid, the big four, and that's where I place my trust. I'll also talk about in another video. I'll talk about Stellar Lumens, which I have a real strong belief in. I think it's a fantastic crypto, and I think it could see gains of probably 50x or more in the next crypto bull run. I think it's a solid performer, and it's one of the reasons why I recommended it in a crypto starter portfolio. It's really easy to acquire. If you're on Coinbase, you can get Stellar Lumens there, or you can use the Grayscale Trust to buy it through the stock market. So it's really simple there. The SEC, let me talk about the SEC, recently has been causing a stir amongst the cryptocurrency community. And I put out a short video yesterday where I said, hey, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash were not securities because the head of the SEC said so. In a 2018 presentation he was giving, he specifically said that those were not securities. Now, the SEC could always change their mind, their opinion, especially on Ethereum, I think, with Ethereum moving to proof of stake from proof of work, many people in the community have thought that that might trigger the SEC to look at it and say, now it's a security. But Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, at least, are, from what we know, kind of guaranteed not to be listed as securities, which is a good thing. And it also means, with what the SEC is doing, potentially going after several coins that are listed on different exchanges, we could see the exchanges limit the coins that they actually allow people to buy and sell. And when we have a reduced number of cryptos that are available, it's going to benefit Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, because those are going to be there. They're on every exchange, and people are going to be able to see those and get those very easily. I talked the other day in a video about one of the things I like about Bitcoin Cash, just having the Bitcoin name, which is you can't mess with that. That's amazing. And it's going to cause a lot of people to take a look at Bitcoin Cash, which is one of the reasons I invest in it, because I see it as being essentially underappreciated, undervalued right now. It's a distressed property, really, if you look at a correlation to real estate. And that's one of the reasons I view it as a really good investment, and I make it my top investment in cryptocurrency, because there's a ton of upside potential. There's the same thing that's present in Litecoin, but I think Bitcoin Cash has a little bit further to go than Litecoin could. But ultimately, I don't know. And that's why one of the reasons I also invest in both, but I know both are going to do well in the long run. But the SEC stuff that's going on right now, it could cause, a disturbance in the force, so to speak, when it comes to cryptocurrency investing. It could put pressure on exchanges to, delist a lot of coins that they have for sale. And that will, I think, that will benefit the big four: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Is going to benefit them, and anything else that's left there too, that's still available, that's still listed. But the big four are going to be, I think, viewed as a safer bet by not just retail investors, but institutional investors as well. And that's a really important thing. We, as cryptocurrency investors, want the big investors to come into the market, because that will help with the price appreciation. And we want that. That's good for the long term, to get institutional grade investors in the market in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of, just recently I was watching some videos from CNBC on YouTube where they were talking about cryptocurrency, and man, there's a lot of anti-crypto sentiment amongst some of the CNBC people, like Jim Cramer. And I just have to laugh. I just have to think, man, haven't you learned already, looking at the price appreciation of assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, that they're pretty damn good investments? And I just think 10 years from now, they're going to look back and I don't know if they're still going to be saying the same thing, that crypto isn't a good thing, or what, if they're going to change their opinion, their tune on things. But anyway, I think there's safety and security in Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum not being listed as securities. The reason we don't want things listed as securities is, if something is listed as a security, it might restrict who can buy it, or how they can buy a cryptocurrency. We don't want that. And ultimately, from a free market perspective, it's often unfair to regular investors, regular Joes on the street. So we don't want that type of scenario playing out in the US. I think a lot of other countries are much more crypto friendly. We're going to find out what the US, what the US stance is, the current stance. The head of the SEC seems to be very anti-crypto right now. I don't know if that will change. It would be nice to get some clarity in terms of like what cryptos are commodities versus securities. I think everybody would like to know that. I also think, there's a long way to go on tax policy regarding cryptocurrency. So we're going to see what happens in the US in the coming year, especially leading up to the next bull market. I think is going to be pretty important. there's a lot of things changing in the cryptocurrency market. I'll probably talk about this stuff in other videos, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Anyway, I view, like I said, I view Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash as safe investments that are going to be around for the long run, and that's why I invest in them. And I see so much upside potential, not 1000x potential overnight, but 1000x potential in the long run from those assets. But maybe solid 10, 20, 50x or more gains in the next bull run. We'll ultimately see what happens. We have a ways to go before we get there, but ultimately, I'm super excited to see what happens. Hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, good luck, God bless, Godspeed.